Hello, 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 everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be listening, watching, streaming. It's gonna be a good day today. This is Keeping It Real Estate with me, Sara Delansig, and I am looking forward to talking about something that plagues real estate agents like crazy, which is dun, 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 time management. I can't tell you how many times I have heard agents use, you know, like all kinds of reasons why they have to respond immediately or be reactive to clients or things like that. And then when you really boil it down, um, they don't need to. And then they burn themselves out or their family gets frustrated. I've heard of, marriages and things fall apart because real estate agents put way too much into their work, and they don't have a good work-life balance. And it's one of the reasons why I actually didn't go all the way with with the real estate career the way that it is like lined up, as like working as a full-time agent or whatever. And I went more down the ISA route. So let me uh, um let me see here. For some reason my screen is looking weird, so let me try to change the view so that I can. Da-da-da-da. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna go over this, and I was trying to post this beforehand, so you guys could find it. But I have a Facebook group and an ESP workplace group, and they're both called the same thing, which is the future of follow-up for real estate. So I have a graphic. I'm gonna post it, and it is called 8 Time Management Secrets of Top CEOs. I did not come up with it myself, but I'm gonna share my own perspective, which is the way that I always do this. So want to hear it? Here it goes. Okay, so like I said, most of us have been in this situation. If you are new to real estate, if you've been in it for a long time, if you run a team, whatever the case may be, you probably know that being a realtor is like owning a business. And therefore you have, waves, ups and downs of busyness and not so busyness. And right now, usually this is the low key time, like right after the holidays. I mean, it's starting to ramp up again, to be honest with you. But so this is a good time when you start the year or when you're entering the year to figure out how you're going to manage your time better if you're having a hard time with that, or analyzing how you've been doing it and whether it's being effective. Okay, so the number one, and now these are in no particular order. I'm going to share these 8 principles. I'm going to go over that, and then you guys can decide which ones you like and maybe want to use. And then I will share the graphic, which breaks it down a little bit more. And then you guys can decide what you want to do. Okay. So the number one is the Pareto principle. And I'm not sure, but most people have heard of this because it's called the 80-20 rule as well. And what it says is that 80% of your efforts will create 20% of your results, or IPAs, income producing activities, right? Not IPAs as in the beverage. But IPs, income producing activities. And then vice versa, 20% of your efforts creates 80% of your results. So the goal is to focus on the 20% that is getting you 80% of your efforts, and then automating, delegating, or eliminating the 80% that is getting you only 20% of your results. Okay. So that is the Pareto principle in a nutshell. So what it says to do is identify the 20% of tasks that drive 80% of your results and spend your time on these high impact priorities. Then delegate, eliminate, or automate the rest. And this is perfect for people who need to maximize, their efficiency and their results. So sometimes it may be hard to identify that, but I will just tell you right now, income producing activities for real estate agents tend to be prospecting and writing contracts, or like maybe not writing contracts, but like, getting under contract with with buyers or sellers. Okay, so listing consultations, and not necessarily even showing homes, depending on where you're at in your business, though. So we don't need to go down the rabbit hole of what makes sense for you. You know your business better than I do, so you can decide what that looks like. But really think about what you're putting your efforts into. And I'm gonna bring this up because I think it's really important. So I used to be the right-hand person for a lot of small businesses. Like my dad owned a business and I wasn't his right-hand person, but he sold it to my sister and then I was hers, and I worked really closely with my sister for many, many years until the crash of '08. And then I went to school and then I ended up doing again, I worked for like another person who owned many small businesses and I worked at all of these different small businesses around the area. And one of the things that I realized is that I was taking all this time, I was using a lot of detail in my emails, and my text messages. I was explaining things very like thoroughly. And nowadays, this was like 20 years ago, but nowadays TLDR exists, too long didn't read, right? But I essentially was taking maybe an hour or two to really just describe this whole situation and what happened and why whatever task I needed to get done was, not meeting a deadline or whatever the case may be, right? I don't know exactly, but I remember this whole situation where I spent all this time on it. And he essentially came back to me with like, can you just put this in bullet points? I don't have the time to read every detail of every avenue that went wrong with this scenario, right? So I bring that up because it really made me start to think about every sentence that I'm putting into an email and whether it's necessary. And nowadays we have AI and it can kind of be like, oh, you don't need that word or whatever. And I still don't necessarily like it to tell me that I have to use must instead of should be or something like that. I don't really like that because it sounds kind of rude to me. But anyways, but it can tell you, it can break it down for you. So nowadays we have tools that'll help with this. But I want you to think about that, especially if you have somebody that you report to, or if you have somebody that has, like, let's say you have a client that's a CEO and they just don't have time to hear everything. You just need to give them the highlights and say, this is where we're at. You know, this is where we're at. This is where we're trying to go. This is the new deadline, right? And this is the reason why. So kind of break it down in bullet points. And that's going to really be a little bit, well, at least for me, it was really eye-opening, because now that I'm a CEO myself, I get that. I don't need to know, like if I see an email with 6 paragraphs that's telling me why you were late to work that day. No, like simple as my car broke down or my alarm didn't go off or whatever the case may be. I do not need your life story. I don't need to be involved in all of that, right? So even if it's about work or whatever the case may be, like let's just keep it concise. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, Pareto principle. That's that one. Okay, Eisenhower matrix. So this one is pretty cool. And when I was speaking at EXP shareholders a couple years ago with Louis Galt, he got up on the stage with us and he shared the Eisenhower matrix, which is where you actually categorize your task by urgency and importance. Okay. Oh, I was really hoping this would break it down. Maybe let's see. Okay, handle what's urgent and critical personally, and then delegate less critical tasks and delete anything irrelevant. Okay, so I'm going to try to break this down. So there's important, right, or critical and important, right? Like it's time wise, it has to get done. Okay, for example, yesterday I had to get done sending out my 1099 stuff for my contractors, right? I had to get it done because it's the end of the month and you have to have it done by the end of the month and you want time for them to get it and all of that. So has to be done. It's critical and it's important. Okay. So then there's the things that are not as time sensitive. Let's use time sensitive. But they are important. So maybe you can wait a day or two. So maybe like last week, that tax stuff was important, but it wasn't time sensitive yet, if that makes sense. Okay. So you break it down into 4 categories. And then you would have not important and not time sensitive, or not important and time sensitive. Okay. So I don't know how that category would make sense though, because if it's not important, I don't know that it's time sensitive, right? Maybe it's like saying happy birthday to somebody. I guess that could be, well, it depends on your situation. Let me not speculate on that. But that is kind of how the Eisenhower principle works. You really separate, okay, the tasks that you do in a day and whether they have a deadline or something like that, and then how important they are, and then you kind of categorize them, and then you do the ones that you have as important and time sensitive, and then you see if you can delegate anything else and or eliminate or automate. Okay. All right. Number 3. I have not. Let me see. I've not heard of this one. Ivy Lee method. Okay, so we're learning together. This one says write down your top 6 tasks to complete tomorrow. Okay, so prioritize them by importance. Start at the top and finish each one before moving to the next. So it says it's perfect for CEOs looking to streamline their day with simple and effective plan. Some people are box checkers, and this is a way that they can do that. So if you're like, okay, tomorrow I need to, follow up with my sphere, so I need to make 20 calls. I need to send out 10 postcards. I need to meet with a client for a listing appointment, right? So like write them out and then write them out in order of, priorities, and then, do the first one. And if you can, I mean, obviously if you have a listing appointment, it's at a certain time of day and you're going to have to, you know, prioritize, right? Like you're going to have to make it work. So that's another way that you can do it. And if you're more of a box checker, you can do it that way. Okay, the Pomodoro technique. I have heard a lot of people talk about this one too, and I have done it myself. And this is where you break your work into 25-minute time blocks or like intervals, where you're focusing your time on one specific task, not multiple tasks. Okay. And then you're going to take a 5-minute break. So the 25-minute burst of I'm focused on this, and this works best if you silence phones, if you don't have your email, like going off. I have 6 different emails. If you are a real estate agent, you probably experienced this too. You have your Gmail, you have your personal, you have your one since you were a kid, you have your family email, you have your brokerage email, you have the one that you created just for junk, right? So you might have all these different emails. And I found it really frustrating because every time a new email will come in, my computer, my laptop would make this noise, and it would tell me that one's coming in. So I silenced notifications like that. I silenced all of my Facebook notifications. This may not be something that you can do, especially if you use social media um, to generate leads. Like if you have people reaching out, if you're making video content, if you're a coach or something like that, and you have agents that might want to sign up for your coaching, or if you do agent attraction or anything like that, it may not work for you. But I completely silenced Instagram. I found that it would just keep popping up and drain my battery with stuff I could not. Like I tried adjusting the settings so that it wouldn't tell me when a friend of a friend posted something, but it would still do it. So I just completely muted all of the Instagram stuff. And then I try to check it, at a certain time of day instead, which I'm not very good at with Instagram, but I'm more of a Facebook person and a TikTok person nowadays. But yeah, so this is a strategy that you can use for, your creative projects, problem solving, right? And this is for CEOs who need to focus when they have a lot of constant distractions. And I think this is a really good one for teams too, because I do work with a team. And when I first started working with this team, they're a really big team. Okay. They're like a very big team, very well known, but they had no SOPs and the standard operating procedures. And I don't know that they knew their IPs or income producing activities either at the time. We're almost a year in with this team now, and it is a complete like overhaul of where they were to where they are now, because now they are taking the time to, chunk in when they have to put in notes, because they didn't put in any notes. And as an ISA, hello, notes are super important. So please, for the love of your ISA agents, notes are super important. And even if you don't have an ISA now, you might someday, you probably will, especially if you're good. So please insert notes. It's not that hard, especially nowadays with voice texts and voice memos and things like that. I don't think there's much of an excuse to not do it, even if you're on the road. Okay. There's an app for everything. Okay. So that's the Pomodoro technique. The number 5 one is kind of similar. This is time boxing. It is not time blocking because it's boxing or blocking. Well, time boxing. This is where you take chunks of time for specific areas of your life. So you're going to say, like, from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., it's my coffee time, my meditation time. It's my morning routine. Okay. This is not only for business, this is for personal. This is where I'm gonna, put my energy to have a good day, like have my coffee time, maybe sit and journal, meditate, do a little yoga, whatever the case may be. This is like lately, I've been doing this a lot where I get up before the rest of my family and I go do a low, like not a super aggressive yoga workout, but like a low energy yoga stretch, and then a short 10 to 15-minute meditation, maybe do a little journaling, a little focus on like what I need for the day. So that is an example of time boxing. You're going to schedule it in 15, 30, 60-minute intervals, whatever you need to do. And then you dedicate the block or the box for a specific high value activity or task, and only on that thing, right? So don't do anything else. If you're saying like this is my me time or this is my morning routine time, then don't go check any emails during that time, right? Turn your phone off. There's a lovely thing on iPhones. I don't know about the other ones, but that's a focus button. Okay. You can hit that and it will silence things. And there's options. You can decide, okay, only let, really important notifications from favorites or, certain things. I've been getting phone calls as real estate agents. This is super frustrating. And I know you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. I get random spam callers all day long. Yesterday, I must have had 20 of these. And I kept blocking the number. I kept blocking the number and they would just call back 5 minutes later from a different number. They don't leave a voicemail. It's super annoying. But you can silence all of them. And luckily there's new things and that make it much easier for us to ignore them. And now my phone realizes I don't want to talk to these people that are not saved in my phone. Okay. Number 6 is very similar to time boxing, which is task batching. Okay. Group similar tasks together, like meetings, emails, or planning. So maybe instead of morning routine, you're going to have, admin time. And in admin time, that is where, you're drafting emails, or you're writing job descriptions, or I don't know, whatever the case may be, like writing descriptions of your listings or using your AI tools to do something or creating new campaigns, whatever admin work. And most of us as agents, the admin work can be insane. Just like taking notes is part of admin time too. It can be a lot, especially if you're doing too much like I was doing and you're not just using bullet points. So just remember to keep it concise, do what you can. Try to make sure that you can manage your time the best you can, because being a real estate agent is owning a business and it can eat into your family time. And like I said at the beginning, a lot of people I've seen that have had, their families, their marriages fail because they put all their effort and time into real estate because, I don't know, maybe they're seeking the thrill of it, because it is kind of a thrill when you get a listing or when you, right? So, I mean, you got to prioritize, you got to balance. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Complete them in dedicated blocks to avoid context switching and save time. So you can have meetings, you can have email time, you can have planning time. I think that's self-explanatory, or we kind of went over it, right? All right, number 7. This one is called the 3-3-3 rule. I heard this for phone calls too, to be honest with you. It's like call for the first 3 days, you're going to call 3 times a day, and then you're going to send 3 texts. And so anyways, there's a different version of this, but I'm going to explain it this way. So each day you plan 3 hours of like intense focused work on one important project. Okay. So, like yesterday, this would have been my tax, right? My tax stuff. Get all my tax stuff ready. Make sure I send it out and mail out all the forms that I need to mail out. Make sure everybody knows how to file their taxes as a contractor that worked for me in 2024. Okay. Um, and sometimes it doesn't take the full 3 hours. It didn't take me the full 3 hours, so that was nice. All right, so there's 3 hours of deep work on an important project. Okay, and then there's 3 urgent tasks, like crucial meetings or to-dos. Okay, so a crucial meeting, like a listing appointment, is going to be a crucial meeting. Now, let's see what might not be a crucial meeting. Maybe, maybe meeting with your lender for coffee might not be a crucial meeting to go over, you know, whatever you do with your lender, other strategies, marketing strategies, or events, or something like that. Depends. Y'all know your business better than I do, right? Okay, and then 3 maintenance tasks. Oh, I actually really like this. This is good because then you're not just like reacting to the stuff that is critical at the time, or not just like focusing on, because sometimes there can be so many urgent and important items that we don't get to those maintenance tasks, right? And if that's the case for you, I just want to say, like, there is support out there. Find yourself a good assistant, whether they be virtual or otherwise, and hopefully that will help you out. But either way, I do like this because 3 maintenance tasks, there are those things that you may not want to do, but they still need to get done. It's still a crucial part of your business. It's just a backup maintenance thing. And I have those too, like, deleting stuff from my CRM that's dead, bad phone numbers, wrong phone numbers, stuff like that. So I tag them all, but then I delete them maybe once a month. It used to be once a week. But now, those maintenance tasks I actually delegate to my husband. But at one time I did all this myself too. So there you have it. All right. We're good for time. So maybe we can take some questions if you guys have questions after this one. But here is number 8. Theory of constraints. Okay. I'm going to try to explain this one. So it says identify a constraint. Okay. Identify a constraint, something that's a problem, right? Or an issue. Well, I guess a constraint, right? Like something that is causing friction. Okay. And then you're going to optimize it and sync pace with it, improve it, and then find the next one. Okay, this is good. Okay, now I see where it's going. I watched a video today. Ironically, it was not Layla Hermosi, but this person's name was Layla. And I Google, or I searched on YouTube, like top tricks for time management for CEOs or something like that. And I'm gonna see if I can find this woman so I can tell you. But her name was Layla too, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so funny that I found someone with the same name, because you guys know I'm always watching Layla Hermosi videos. Okay, Layla at Process Driven is what it was. The time management secret smart CEOs make in 2025. This is the one that I listened to. So I bring this up because she was talking, she was literally doing like a day in the life where she was showing what she does for her business and how she was meeting with her team and how they were trying to consolidate her work hours from 60 to 50 or 50 to 60 hours a week down to 20 to 30, because that was her sweet spot. That's my sweet spot too. I like the 20 to 30 hours a week. So I'm going to use an example that really this happened to me. I run an ISA company. I had an ISA working for me. When I hired her, we had a really good workload. And when you first hire someone, you have to train them, and you analyze how much time it takes, and you think that it's going to take a certain amount of time. Well, she became very quick at what she did, just like me, so there has to be like a gap between what when you hire them, what I'm capable of doing the same job, and what they're capable of. Well, 8 months, no, it's about 7 months in. 7 months in, she takes a vacation and I have to do her job. And I realized that I'm paying her for 6 to 8 hours a day, but I can do her job in 2. Yeah. So when she came back, there was a conversation had, because now I realized that I found this problem. I didn't know it existed at the time, but I saved, a lot of time and energy by her going on vacation. So what I will say to that is don't let it end up in my situation. If you have something like that, figure out what it is and then do it yourself and see what it really takes. And if it is something that you're doing yourself or you're not sure, like try to take the time, make it one of the maintenance tasks that you set up or something like that, and try to take the time to figure out exactly where the friction is, because it's like gonna save a mass amount of time. I'm telling you, like I can't even fathom how I was paying as much as I was paying. I mean, the results, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Think about it, and hopefully that's helpful. So those are the 8 time management secrets of top CEOs. You can't see it. Okay. I'm going to share this on my Facebook and workplace group, which is called The Future of Follow-Up for Real Estate, and on my social. So you can find me, Sara Delansig, on there. If anybody has any questions, we have a minute. So I'll let you guys tell me, but I think that's it because I don't see anybody coming off mute. Until next time, then. Thanks much. Keep it real. Bye.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.